Thank you. Our last question in this round is for Mr. Bonchek, Mr. McKinney, and Ms. Flatley. And that question reads, what can the legislature do to help municipalities with infrastructure improvements, such as our roads, sidewalks, and public buildings? Mr. Bonchek. Apparently. I've got the up-to-date list here, but you'll all get your chance, so why don't you go ahead, Joanne?
I think the state can help out a great deal at this point. For the past number of years, probably 8 years, the majority of the federal money that has come in for roads has gone into the big dig. And what we can do at this point is rally for that money to go into the cities and towns for road improvement. The federal government would provide 80% and the state would match it with a 20%. And the Mass Highway Department would allocate that money into the cities and towns. And we need to really fight for that money from the federal government. And that money would also help with bridges, bike paths. There's a limited, but more than just roads, allocation for those fundings. The second thing is that we can look at more capital improvement money, incent towns to borrow on a consistent basis. I think what happened and what I've learned from my experience in the town is we've been trying to cover our education, our operating budgets to such an extent that our roads and our sewers have taken a true hit, and that we have not been able to put the money into the infrastructure that is truly required. We need to provide incentives for towns to be able to do that. I know that Dedham has an extensive capital improvement program every year. Unfortunately, we can't fund everything that's being requested by the departments. I've toured as a finance committee member both the police and the fire headquarters, and both need extensive improvements. We also have schools that are rated not well by the state, which we need improvements on, as well as the other towns have those. So we really need to put some significant money into our infrastructure in the next 4 years, and I'm hopeful that that will be able to happen to the state with the federal assistance money.
Thank you. I believe we're going to Mr. McKinney next, and the question again is, what can the legislature do to help municipalities with infrastructure improvements, such as our roads, sidewalks, and public buildings? Maybe I'll answer it.
I knew Bill went second last time, so I knew it would be my turn this time.
Okay, sir.
Here we have probably one of our biggest costs, being the infrastructure and municipal buildings. That when they were built well, but now they're becoming old and they need a lot of work. I suggest, if you could get a group of people together in a town, like get all your tradesmen together and have a volunteer force sign up and get paid after volunteering to repair some of these schools or buildings, and the ones that can't be repaired, you put them on the list to demolish and replace them. But where are you going to get the money from? I think it's, we have a new middle school in Dedham, Westwood and Walpole, depending on overrides to keep their schools going. So where are they going to get the money to put up new buildings? It's going to have to come from the federal government. And I know that the roads in this town can be deplorable. There's a lot of cracks in the roads, not taken care of properly. So there's extra maintenance that could go into keeping these roads good for another 20 years just by a little preventive maintenance, instead of letting the cracks get bigger and bigger, and then you have to replace the whole road instead of just filling in a few cracks with sealing. Really, there's a lot to think about here. These are big projects and take a lot of money. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. McKinney, I'm fairly confident that it's your turn. Could question is, what can the legislature do to help municipalities with infrastructure improvements, such as our roads, sidewalks, and public buildings?
Well, as the state representative, I would obviously be working with the selectmen, the finance committees, and the capital expenditure committees in the 3 towns. Being a member of the finance committee right now, we have been going through, as Joanne mentioned, the capital projects that we're hoping to accomplish in the next few years. The legislature will be able to help out basically by working with the 3 towns, getting the lists of our highest priority projects and the funding, and then seeing what's available for state reimbursement, and then lobbying the powers that be to make sure that we are at the top of the list. Unfortunately, some of this is political, and it comes down to who can get things done, who's got the influence on Beacon Hill. Whoever gets elected to this will obviously be the most junior member of the State House. Fortunately, as the former MDC commissioner, I've been able to work with legislators on both sides of the aisle in all of the surrounding areas. So I've built up a lot of personal relationships with them. And I look forward, and also throughout state government. So I look forward to being able to take that expertise into situations like this where we can try to get the most for the 3 towns in this district.